Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. And this article comes to you guys from AT&T's blog post. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys can check it out. So, eclipsing expectations, AT&T's network stayed bright during the solar eclipse. So that's pretty much what AT&T's claiming. So while more than 32 million Americans watched the eclipse, we were busy watching our network spike. As totality hit across the United States, an increase of data usage followed when millions of viewers captured and shared the big moment. Smartphones became the lens through which we observed this rare phenomenon. More than 3.2 billion total messages were sent Monday. That's 510 million messages more than a typical day. Over 1.1 billion were MMS messages that included pictures and videos, and 2.1 billion were text only. It's amazing to see the power of our network firsthand, connecting so many people during such historical moments. Now, even during these types of events, even though, there's more people gathered in certain areas, the network should be able at this juncture, right now that we're so far in on the wireless networks, the advancements that we've made, we've went through 2G, 3G, 4G, LTE, or HSPA, then LTE, and then 5G. Calling and texting should not be of any issue, no matter the situation or the case. Calling and texting should always work. That is the very, very basic task of the cellular network. And then it goes on to say it's been 7 years since the last eclipse, and it's safe to say that a lot has changed. Our network is virtualized and can now handle much more capacity at much higher speeds. To put capacity into perspective, our network saw 168 petabytes of data on an average business day in 2017 and 2024. That number has exploded to 680 petabytes. And I know it's hard to remember a time before 5G, but that was the case during these last solar eclipse. Since then, we've evolved, and then you can see all the 5G and the pops that they cover. So 680 petabytes, that's a huge amount of usage of increase. So that's how AT&T is forecasting and tracking, like, okay, hey, we can handle this amount of usage. This is what we expect it to grow into over the next 5 years. And that's how they're able to estimate and project how much more spectrum they may need, before the end of this decade. Let's say before the end of 2030, they might say, hey, look, we project to increase our usage per day over 10 times by 5-year mark, and we need more spectrum. So that's something that they are forecasting, or that they can forecast internally. Like I mentioned, the time before 5G, the LTE, the 3G, the HSPA, whatever you want to call it, calling and texting in this day and age should not be a problem whatsoever. Picture messages too. Video, it depends on what you're filming in. If you're trying to send content in 4K, that's a different story. That requires some bandwidth and maybe tougher to handle for the bigger crowds. But that's where millimeter wave comes into play. But regardless, like mentioned in the article or in the blog post, AT&T virtualized the network. They now have C-band and DoD, I guess you could say, at a respectable scale, 220 million pops or whatever it was. And they will continue to scale that throughout this year and next year. So for them, capacity should be less of an issue, I feel, because they're not going to do FWA anywhere close to what Verizon and T-Mobile are doing. Let's not kid ourselves, and let's not let them fool us. They are not going to do 7 to 8 million FWA ads. They're not going to get anywhere close to that. I would be surprised if they get to 1 million or 2, maybe 3. 3, I would say, would be the max for them on FWA, and they won't go any higher than that if they even get to that type of number, because they're just not. They're not forecasting or guiding anything to begin with. Yes, they're doing it, but they're doing it in a very limited fashion. It's scattered even within the markets where they do offer it and where it is live. It's still very limited. Fiber is what they want to do. Let's call it what it is. They want to do the fiber. Let's not even go too deep into that. They want to do fiber. They don't want to do the FWA. They just don't want to do it. the lack of spectrum, right? They don't have as much spectrum as their competitors. And that's something that they called out before on internal town halls and publicly. But then Stanky kind of, the remedy for them having less spectrum is they won't have as much FWA usage on the network. So they could be similar on par with performance of the competitors. The competitors that have more spectrum, they will have more usage, more FWA. So you guys can kind of catch his drift. But still in all, they're going to chase that, but they will not get anywhere close to the competition as it comes to the amount of people that will be on their FWA product. So great to see AT&T performed well. Again, texting, calling, those should be basic standards that should be handled without any issues, no matter the situation. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.